What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Ricer Rob with Ricer Race VT, of course, and we have the Outback on the Quick Jacks. So during one of our last photo shoots, the Ricers and I went to the aisles with the cars, and I noticed the Outback was getting a little toasty. When I popped the hood there, I actually had some coolant overflow spray on the hood and stuff, and I tried topping it off, which took like a whole gallon of coolant, and I was kind of like, kind of weird. Luckily, Cam was there to look under the car, which I definitely did, and it wasn't leaking, but when Cam looked, it was absolutely puking fluid. So I will kind of show you how to replace a radiator first. And I'm somewhere in this, I will also show you where my radiator failed. I'm not all that surprised, honestly, because the car did actually hit a deer before Cam's ownership, but that's why the JDM Outback bumper is on it. I did try pulling the frame a little bit just to kind of straighten some things out, and I think it's a lot closer, at least than it was, so I'm happy with it for the time being. So this is your radiator stay. Attaches to that front kind of radiator support. Front crash support. It's held on by a 12 mil, and I had mine loose, but there's supposed to be a little peg that goes through this, and on mine there is no peg. It snapped off, and it gave away eventually. So that's where my coolant leak was coming from. What that peg looks like that I was just talking about. It's just a piece of plastic that goes on the top of the radiator to give it an alignment, and she broke. So I'm gonna try and walk you through kind of doing this job. It's not super complicated, to be honest, and in terms of tooling, it's really easy as well. The only thing I'm kind of waiting on currently is Matt is at work. He's going to pick up some fluids for us, so I'm not sure how much I really want to get into this before that happens, but it's only a couple more hours until he's out. Alright, so first thing, and I've actually started removing some of these things just to make this process go a little bit faster. There's going to be these two clips on your, this little duct for your intake. Just going to remove those, and then this will pull kind of forward and up. Has this little slide that goes into your stock airbox. Next, there's going to be two 12mm bolts. I actually already took the liberty of removing those just to, again, kind of check and see where the damages were at. So actually on both sides, I ended up having broken tabs. Luckily, this side didn't actually go through the plastic cap all the way. This side, we did a what we call one of those ricer fixes. There is a, I'm not even gonna tell you actually, just it's a ricer fix. Next, there's going to be one 10mm bolt that holds your hood latch kind of holder. Let's take that off, put it to the side. I might actually end up trying to do my headlights at the same time, just since, you know, a lot of the front end is going to be apart. So I actually did remove the two clips on the outside, so I could remove the Spec B grill. Now I do have the Zero Sports radiator cover shroud thing, just kind of laying around, so hang that up for the time being. The next step, now that all that's been removed, is going to be getting something I can catch coolant in, and then I'm going to remove these top two hoses up here. Now, since this is an automatic, there are two transmission ATF lines that go to it. Those are going to be on this bottom side under here that goes to what looks to be a little bit of a leak, actually. So I will address that. Holy hose clamps! Yeah, those ATF lines need to be removed. This lower coolant pipe needs to be removed. And I need to unplug the fans up there. Like I'd mentioned, I'm kind of waiting on just confirmation of at least getting fluids today before I start draining everything. I do also want to do an oil change at this point, since it'll be up in the air and really easy to do. So do that. I actually got one of those liquid moly engine health. This is what I'm talking about. So it's supposed to kind of protect wear and extend life, less friction. You know, add it to your oil during an oil change. And I had actually put this in Shigo when we had done all the BMW maintenance and, you know, bringing Shigo back from the dead and all that. I wouldn't say it doesn't do anything. I'm not sure if it actually does do anything. I haven't put a ton of miles on the car yet, but especially being the mileage that the Outback's at and it being a daily driver, I'm gonna try and take every precaution I can. So an oil change is due as well, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I do have some 530 synthetic, as well as filters and crush gaskets, all that good stuff. I did end up replacing the cabin air filter, which was a huge royal pain in my ass because I forgot how much of that interior actually does have to come apart to access that. And the funny thing is, I didn't even have a cabin air filter before that, so there was just nothing in the box. So I thought that was really funny. I did just get in over there on top of the big supply of Monster, please sponsor me, is a new power switch for the driver's seat, so I can move it forward backwards again. It actually does still electronically get signal to move backwards, but I can't move it forwards at all. So really awkward driving position. Realistically, I'm trying to swap the tan and the black interiors, or the STI seats, with the Legcacy and the Outback. So either swap or just get another set, but realistically, I'm definitely trying to ditch this tan interior. Shout out to Dylan Jean Whip Wellness for letting me borrow his wheels while his car is just kind of down and off the road for a little bit. Really hyped. Favorite wheel, for sure. Favorite finish, for sure. And I think it'll look really good as when we get the whole car done in the red mirror. So yeah, making a lot of updates on the Outback. I really should have been filming more of the build process so far, but I figured I would just kind of make it all in one kind of wrap-up video. Just kind of walking around. I did put the red JDM garnish on. Looks really good. And then I scored a second set of exhaust garnishes. And then also put the NVIDIA N1 off of a 8 through 14 WRX hatchback on. Got the mid-pipe extended, rotated, and extended the mufflers out as well. But sounds really good, looks really good. It does burble on like decel and stuff, so I think that's kind of neat. I disconnected the lower radiator hose from the radiator itself, letting that drain, and just pulled the cap off the radiator to let it flow better. Gonna give that a minute and then gonna pull some more hoses off. All right, I just removed the upper radiator hose and I disconnected this guy. No coolant came out of those since we are draining from the bottom still. I just disconnected the two ATF lines. And again, everything is kind of finished draining at this point. So now I just unplugged these two guys for the fans. And I believe it should just be able to pull straight up and out. Old radiator is out. Just need to take off the fans and the coolant reservoir, pop off those lines on the bottom, and transfer those to the new CSF. Just a OEM style. Still has plastic end caps. Hopefully I don't snap off these pegs. And puke coolant all over the place again. I will put a link in the description below. Got this from Radiator now for, I think it was a little bit under 120 bucks. I have 112 in my head. All right, transfer the fans over, just making sure that the pegs on the bottom align up and that you put the 4 10 mil screw bolts back in the top. Next thing is actually going to be removing those ATF lines on the bottom and transferring those over to here. And then next it'll just be putting that coolant reservoir onto the side. Super easy. Coolant reservoir is back on. ATF lines are swapped over. Looks like we are ready to drop it into the car. So I'm gonna do that. And before I connect anything, I will pick you guys back up. Just dropped in the radiator. On the bottom there are 2 of these alignment tabs to drop right into. A little note would be, it was a little tight getting past the coolant reservoir, but if you pull this line towards the front, it will actually pull the, what is it, AC radiator or something. But it pulls that forward and allows you to drop the actual radiator into place. Next step, I'm just going to connect these top hoses. Then I'll move on to the bottom and connect some of those. We can plug in the fan. So there's that big connector down here, which goes right in the bottom of this box on the fan shroud. Click. Connected those 2 top hoses. Just got to actually do the clamps, but I'll do those last. And then about to move on to the lower. All right, we got everything back in, and we are waiting on Matt to deliver some fluids. And now Cam's home.
Hello.
Matthew has joined us. We have a funnel duct taped into the radiator.
Got some baby distilled water and some OEM coolant. We did something right, folks.
It's green, so apparently it does need to be diluted with water.
This is as distilled as it gets.
And apparently it takes about 2 gallons in total of fluid to get this process done.
Yeah, there's about 1 gallon sits in the radiator, and about a quarter of the fluid stays in the engine, and then whatever is left over stays in the overflow.
Up top, we got everything kind of buttoned up for the night. And then down low, I know I didn't actually record it. Matt actually has an episode filmed and just waiting to be edited. But we just resealed the oil pan. Waiting to get a new oil filter tomorrow. And then after 24 hours, the oil pan gasket will be dry, and then we can fill with fluids. This is what we use for the oil pan gasket. All right, well, that wraps up today's, I guess, what we can do for the day at least. Tomorrow, again, we will wait for all that stuff to dry, put on the new oil filter, and we'll eventually be able to fill with oil. And then I do need to actually take it for a drive and try and bleed the coolant. Hopefully the thermostat opens up after a lot of good progress. Got the radiator all swapped out. Again, I can link that in the description below if you want to pick one up for yourself. Radiator now, it was really cheap and really fast shipping actually. So I will link that below. I'm gonna clean up and wrap things up for tonight. And then again, I will take some more clips tomorrow, and we'll see you then.